Alright, hello everyone, this is LSM. I'm gonna make an Attack on Titan tribute game, sort of a beginner's introductory vid. A couple things I do want to go over, so move this there for now, because I want to go over that. Okay, so first off, if you don't know where it is, I obviously have the game address in my history from going there a lot, but it's fengli.com/game/AOG. When you go here, this should load up. Your Unity player might need to boot. If you don't have it already, I highly recommend either using full screen or using a JavaScript bookmark I created, which you could find at lsmjudoka.com/test/js_bookmarks.html. So this is a full window mode bookmark. I'll just show you what it does. You click and drag it up to your bookmark bar. Go to here, you click it, and it takes away all the other stuff, and it brings the game out. Now, this window initially doesn't stay the same, but when you get in game, it will actually use up your entire browser window instead of just this little space, which is very nice. I'm going to go ahead and go on to Old Level 2. Old Level 2 is actually City 2 if you play multiplayer, except there's no respawns, basically, but it's the city map. There's many different characters. If you haven't watched the series, I recommend watching at least the first, I think, 7 episodes or so before looking to all the characters, because there's a spoiler in there, which you probably saw if your eyes were fast enough. But my favorite character is Levi, because I really like his special and the fact that his blades have longer durability. But mostly his special because it's awesome. My other favorite character is probably Sasha. If you're new, I highly recommend playing Jean or Sasha. Jean is really good because all the characters have a special ability, and his special ability is the ability to escape one Titan grab. Meaning, you can escape one. After that, if you get caught by another one, you'll die. I'm not actually completely sure if it refreshes when you respawn or up on a new game, but you definitely can't use it over and over again. It's very limited, but that's still very nice to escape one. Or Sasha, her special is also very nice because it makes you run really fast. I'm just going to use Levi though because I'm most familiar with him. And there are some slight differences in the feel of the characters and how they fly around and whatnot. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start. When you'll get into game, you'll notice if you press P, it'll open up the controls. I'll set this back to default. Also, I highly recommend using the TPS camera setting. If you don't know what that is, this is what TPS is. Basically, when you move your cursor, the camera moves with it. The first camera mode, this is original, you have this space where you move your cursor, that the camera doesn't react to it. And it's only when you hit the edge that it scrolls around. This makes it really hard to try and swing around because you go over here and you try to swing and it's kind of all over the place with the control. And so it makes it really hard to swing around. The next camera mode is WoW, which this is what WoW looks like. It doesn't turn at all. In fact, I'm not even entirely sure how to turn it in this camera mode. I really can't see anything because it just doesn't turn. And then we have TPS, which is it reacts fluidly. The camera is locked to your motion, so it doesn't get in your way much. So back to the controls. This is what the default control setup is. There's a couple things I really recommend doing. For one, taking off camera tilt. That's just disorienting. Also, if your computer isn't that high quality, you wouldn't expect it, but for some reason the game is pretty graphics intensive. So you might want to turn this quality down a little bit. I'll change my mouse sensitivity up a little bit. The other thing I really recommend is setting jump to space, for reasons I'll discuss later, and dodge to F. Both hooks, you really don't need this button. If you really want it, I have changed blade on caps lock usually, because changing blade is something you don't need to do in the middle of the action as much. So it's easier to do that. And then usually I'll have both hooks on like R or something. Then if you're going to game, this is what it looks like. The common controls: W to move forward, A to move left, D to move right, S to move backwards. Q and E are your hooks. If you look, Q is your left hook, and E is your right hook. Those are the primary things you're going to do. You can use them separately like that, right? Or you can use them together. So there's no, you can just press both buttons together, rather than using this for both hooks, which is, this doesn't give you a whole lot of control. All it really does is send you in one direction without much control as to your height or anything. So it's much more accurate to use your own. Yeah, and as someone in the chat that you guys can see just pointed out, John's special is also less gas usage. So if you look down at the bottom of the screen, you'll see what looks like, it's kind of hard to see, but there's two gas tanks, and then there's two blades, and then there's some little mini blades next to them, right? So you do have limited gas, which is what you use to boost. Okay, now to the basics of the game. In order to kill Titans, you have to slash the back of their neck, right? But the main problem is getting to the back of the neck. In order to get to the back of the neck, you need to get good with the 3DMG gear. The basic test I like to do is to swing down this beginning corridor in the city without touching the ground or any of the buildings. Which basically what you want to do, you want to hook out relatively far from yourself, maybe like 3/4 of a building to one building length. Just ignore that, that's my special. So you hook out there with one hook, and then as you get pulled into the air, switch and pull the other way. And just repeat the process. You hook to one, and as you get pulled into the air, turn your mouse to the other side, do another hook, and then just keep alternating. It's kind of like being Spider-Man. So you can do that. I recommend practicing this a few times. Just go into a single player game on old level 2 and practice this a few times. When you get good at this to where you can do this pretty easily, then try it on this longer corridor, which I'll show you in a second. So you go all the way from here down to the end. You start with this building. By the way, this is dodging, which is pretty nice for dodging some things like Titan Crims. Okay, so you start on this building. You just keep alternating. You want to make sure your hook point is fairly far out in front of yourself, because if you hook to strongly to the side, if you hook here and then here, you never really get anywhere. You see I'm not really going forwards. So the more you hook to the side, the more you basically stay in one place. The more you hook forwards, the more you'll fly forwards. The limit range of your hooks is 120 meters. So as long as you're anything less than that, you can get the hook. No, I missed it. The other thing you can do is if you use, this is the jump button, right? But if you hold jump, you also boost. You can kind of see it coming out. So as a note, this is a regular jump. If you jump and hold it, this happens. And you can use the same concept when you're using 3DMG in the air. I'll show that here. So you can also if you want to get up to the top of a building, usually double hooks is a good way to just get right up to the top of the building. Although you can also wall run once you jump up onto a building. You can wall run. Here, I'll show it this way. And then you can just hook back to it and wall run up more. But this is really tedious, and this is generally not how you want to get up to the top of a building. So generally what you're going to want to do is to double hook up to the top of it. Keep in mind, when you hook with both hooks, and I'm not using the both hooks key again, I'm using Q and E to do this. But when you hook with both hooks, it will throw you really high, comparatively. To demonstrate, this is one hook. I'll do it on this rooftop. This is one hook. It pulls me right to where it is, right? And This, in roughly the same position, is 2 hooks. Throws me all the way over the building, basically. If you do it without... If you're releasing the peak of your momentum, you get thrown basically all the way over the building. So double hooks will throw you higher than your hook point. You can use that to create effect. You're going onto a building. Just get up right up onto the top of it. Other ways to increase your launches also are, you can also hold W. So let's see if I can do this here. Let's see, 70 meters. We'll see if it makes a substantial difference. 70 meters, right? Yeah, so that definitely helps a bit. You can hold W, which kind of makes your character protect your momentum forward. And the big thing you can do is you can jump and hold it, and it'll boost you. I'm going to do that this way. And you can tell that the boost is on from that little kind of trail, and that makes you fly pretty far. Okay, you can also practice swinging on this corridor too. So you can start here. Try to hook towards the end of a building, especially if you need to swing around the corner of a building. And I'm doing all of this swinging without gas. But when you add gas to your swinging, I'll just show you here, it speeds it up a lot. And you can now... Sorry, random special. You can get pretty high randomly. You can also, these vertical beams, you can do a nice high jump launch with them. Just try and show you all the way from the start here. So it'll send you pretty high in the air. The easiest one to do that with is the tutorial one, or not the tutorial one, but the one at the start. Let me just get there real quick. Also, another important note, while you're in the air, if you're holding W and you press gas, it will direct your character slightly in the direction that you aim. So, let me see if I can demonstrate this. Let me find a pole. That's a good way to do it. Okay, so like this pole, if I pull straight towards it, see, this is about dead center, right? Okay, so this is dead center. So I pull straight towards it, and then I gas, it sends me way far away. You can also use it to go forwards. You can use it to change momentum back. So again, you pull straight towards it, but then you can gas away and turn, and it'll push your momentum in that direction. That's useful in a lot of higher level techniques, also like Sparrow Strike. That's also just good for general maneuvering. If you need to you can also spin around an object. If you hold gas, when you're spinning around something, if you hold gas, it will tend to stay that way. So you can maintain the spin. If you release gas, then your spin slowly stops and you pull in. That's also useful when maneuvering on Titans. Now, from all the swinging I've been doing and boosting and gassing and whatnot, you can probably notice if you look at the bottom, those gas tanks that were all white at the beginning, they're now pretty dark, which is pretty empty. So we'll need to refuel them. If you are on multiplayer in City 2, your refuel station would be right here. Since you're on single player, it's actually next to the church. You can see it up there. Now they're already filled. And again, the character Jean, he has two specials. He has an active special and a passive special. His active special is escaping from a Titan's grab once, and then his passive special is that he doesn't run out of gas as quickly as other people. Okay, now this seems like a good place to start discussing Titans, except this guy's dangerous. He's a runner. Oh. The first technique that you'll want to do, actually I'm not going to do it on him. Okay, the first technique that you want to do, the first way to kill Titans, is to find a Titan who's not aware of your presence. Like, I don't think that one's aware of my presence right now. He's definitely not facing me. So try and get up behind him when he's not aware. And you don't want to hook on the neck. You want to hook below it, but you want to use double hook so that you get up there faster. You want to try and come from straight behind. Okay. Get up to the neck, and then slash. That was a little bit sloppy, but it's okay. Let's see if I can find another one that's not aware yet. Okay, he's still looking this way. The detection range of most Titans is somewhere between 90 and 110 meters, generally. So if you stay outside of that range, even if they're looking straight at you, they won't see you. Crawlers, I believe, are an exception to this. Oh, feels like there's a Titan there. Okay, so I'm gonna try to stay behind him so he doesn't see me. Okay, then hook his upper back. Slash. You can also, this is kind of an important note, you can hold the attack button while you're swinging, before you attack, and then release it later on. So you can charge up your attack and then release it right as you hit their neck. Okay, now this is an interesting situation. This guy's noticed me, so it's kind of hard to get around to his back because even if I try and pull around to it, he just turns around and he's not going to show his back to me. So you have to get a little bit creative. He's a pretty small Titan, so the technique I recommend for these guys is it's sort of an extension of the technique where we slice their back, right? What you want to do first is you want to get in pretty close, about 25 to 30 meters. Okay, you're going to equals about 25 meters roughly. You're going to look right up at their face and double hook onto it. So I'm watching the range indicator closely. Okay, that did not go well. So if you fail this technique, and this is why I don't recommend doing this technique on anything larger, because it's very tricky. But if you fail the technique, it's very easy to get eaten. Let me try it again though. Okay, so he sees me now. I'm going to try and walk up close to him, hook right about on the nose. You'll hook pretty close. And then do this to blind him. Then quickly run behind him. You'll notice he punches twice and then slams on the ground. Okay, that's your cue. So you hook up on his face, blind him, run behind him. After they do the third punch, they're vulnerable. Okay, usually he's not going to turn like that, but yeah. Okay. I believe this guy is a runner, because this guy's usually a runner. Yeah. A little trick, you can notice by the way that his footsteps don't match his movements on the ground, and he generally moves faster. Even if he doesn't see you, it kind of looks like he's gliding, and he's moving faster. That's a tell that they're a runner. When someone's a runner, what you usually want to do is wait till they get right up next to you and stop, dodge to the side, and then run behind them. And as they stand up, they'll be vulnerable to your double back hook attack. This is a big guy right here. This guy's not going to be... You don't want to blind him because it's too easy to accidentally wind up in his mouth. So there's a different technique that you'll want to use. But first I want to get a little bit of distance between us. Okay, that's a lot of distance. For these guys, the technique you want to use is you want to pull to a nearby object. Again, you don't want to pull at neck level, you want to pull below, but you want it to throw you into the air. Hook the neck. Try not to get grabbed. Yeah, do this again. Pull into the air. Hook the neck. Use gas to spin around. Messed it up again. I apologize for messing up the techniques a couple times. I've been practicing more advanced techniques a lot, so my grips on the basic ones are actually a little bit lacking. If you fail like that and you over-rotate, try to get away from the Titan as quickly as possible. It happens. Even the advanced techniques, you're not going to land them 100% of the time. There we go. That's the way you want to do it. So, I'll demonstrate it on a pillar like I like to do because the concept is the same. If you notice, I'm using gas to make myself spin more. In these wide corridors, your hooks have to go farther to the side, so you can use gas to make yourself keep your forward momentum until you slam into a building. Okay. This Titan is a medium size. The blind technique is a little bit dangerous on him, so I'm going to go ahead and see if I can use the other pull technique. Okay, it didn't exactly work out. So these are a little bit tricky to take on without advanced techniques. There's one more technique you can try against medium-sized ones like that, which is called death from above. But this guy's big enough, I think I can do the spin technique on him. That's how you do it. What you usually want to do with this technique, and the tricky thing that makes the technique either work or not work, is the amount of gas you use. And this is a somewhat unreliable technique, but it doesn't take that much skill to really do. So it's a pretty good technique anyway. So remember when we were spinning around the pillar earlier? I said that if you hold gas, it keeps you spinning, right? You can use that to control when you hit the Titan's neck. So you pull up, you hook the neck, you use gas to spin around right to it. If the Titan suddenly turns more and you need to spin more, you can keep holding on gas. If they don't turn, you can release it and let yourself get pulled into the neck. Also, the hook point, when you actually get up to the Titan, you want to hook on the side of their neck. So if you hook past it, that's generally not ideal. It'll tend to spin you past them. So, I'm gonna hook right there on the side of the neck. If you do that, you should pull, with a little spurt of gas, you should pull right to the back of their neck to kill them. Unless it's a bit of a wider hook like that, it's a pretty bad situation, but sometimes you can salvage it. Okay, I'm gonna try and show the crawler or the runner dodge on this guy. Wait till he comes in, dodge to the side, Run around behind him. Wait till he gets up. Take him out. Okay, one other technique I'll try to show you on this guy. He's death from above. I'll see if I can do it on him. Death from above is a little bit harder. The idea with death from above is that you're going to hook to their head, fly straight over, loop around, and cut them in the neck. So in execution, you want to jump, hook, like that. I actually sliced a little bit too late. If you get 10 damage, you know you're slicing a little bit too late, because you get more damage when you're still in motion as you slice, so that your motion amplifies the strike's damage. Death from above can be hard to do on bigger titans like this, or not. But basically you want to hook towards the center or upper part of the face. You jump first, to show you in this building. You jump first you don't hold it, you just tap it, double hook. When the hooks hit, then you engage the gas. You hold in the air after you engage the gas. You're gonna charge up your attack and then swing it. So you tap, jump, hook, gas, hold, attack, and release. You want to release as you get over their head. See if I can do that on another one. Okay, I got his aggro now. I think I get the aggro the one behind him as well. If you have another Titan approaching in that situation, if you're in the air, you can hold gas to give you some momentum away from them, and then hook onto a nearby object. If you realize you failed a technique, like occasionally for some reasons both hooks won't engage, you'll kind of see one fizzle out instead of pulling taut. If anything like that happens, if you can, immediately turn away, hook, and pull yourself to something else. Okay, but I'll try to do this again on him. Okay, so we jump, hook, gas. Sometimes it doesn't quite work and you land on their head. If you land on their head, immediately tap, jump twice, and then hold it to pull off. I'll try the spin technique on this guy. Okay, that didn't quite work. The reason that didn't quite work is I was a little bit too far away. So you have to try and get the angles right. If you hook onto the shoulder like that, just fly off. You want to make sure you get the hook onto the neck. Okay, so I over-rotated that time. I put a little too much gas on it. With a little bit of creative usage of gas, you can swing around the entire city. Even these wide quarters. These wide quarters, you pretty much have to use gas. Because, remember we were discussing hook points. I said that you wanted to put your hooks really far forward. Since there's so much space between the buildings, you can't usually put your hooks too far forward when you're swinging through these wide quarters. So you have to use gas to get that forward momentum. Okay. When engaging multiple Titans, try and go for the taller one first, because if you engage a shorter one, the taller one will often surprise punch you in the head. If you can't do that, try and go for the one in the back. So this guy's a lot taller. He's separating from the one in the back a little bit, so I'm going to go for him now. If it doesn't work, just pull off. Okay, try it now. Okay, and you have to keep in mind, even when you just killed a Titan, you're on the back of the neck, if there's another one right behind you, it will most likely punch you very quickly, so you have to get away as soon as possible. This is why there's more advanced techniques that allow you to strike the Titan and then quickly get away. I'll see if I can demonstrate one here, actually. So that's an example of a more advanced technique called Sparrow Strike, that because you have the problem that if there's multiple Titans around, they'll try to attack you when you attack a Titan. Advanced techniques like that allow you to strike the Titan and then quickly get away. Okay, I think that's about it. You probably want to practice all these techniques. Again, you can use the double pull from the back. When you're pulling to a Titan on from its back. Oh, there's one more thing I should discuss. How to deal with crawlers. This is a problem right now because... Yeah. Let me go find the crawler so I can show you guys how to deal with it. There it is. Crawlers are very troublesome. The trick to dealing with crawlers is, for one, don't be on the ground when they run into you. You're generally relatively safe on top of a building, as long as you're not at the edge. But once the crawler has noticed you, they will run at you and they will try to eat you. So he's trying to eat me right now. If you are higher than roughly 2.5 times their head height, so you can see his head comes up to about halfway up the building. So if you are higher than... Okay, so his head comes halfway up the building. Let's say the height of this building is like 30 feet. If you're more than twice his head height, so like if you're about 60 feet, or I think it's like 2.5 times, they will jump. And they can jump really long distances, really fast, and just basically kill you. You'll probably find this out if you play the game for very long. So the way you can actually deal with them is you want to be on a roof like this, or attached to a vertical surface. So I'm actually going to drop off and hook here, because you can do this on a building or on a tree or something like that. And then from here, what you want to do is drop off, press S to make sure, as soon as you release your hook, press S to make sure that you don't flip off, because when you wall run, you automatically do a flip off, so you don't want to do that. So press S immediately, hook onto the back of their neck. Okay, I got my hooks. You can walk around with your hooks a little bit like this. Okay. Hook onto their head. Hold on tight and slash the neck. If you're a little bit too high, like I'm just a little too high right now, hook onto a vertical surface again and try to get your hooks again. It can be a little bit tricky because you're trying to hook an area that's obscured by their hair. There we go. So you have to hook onto a vertical surface like this. When you hook onto the surface, make sure that you're hooked on no more than twice their head height, or they will just jump at you. And then if you notice, normally if you release normally that's fine, right? But if you release and you accidentally have W pressed, you'll flip off, and oftentimes that flip sends you high into their jump range. The last thing I should probably mention is reeling. Reeling is something where you use the mouse scroll wheel to adjust how much line that you have let out. I'll demonstrate here, if I can, by swinging around an object first. Okay, so I'm maintaining a stationary spin. You can see that I'm You can roughly see my distance from the tower. Now, if you scroll with your mouse wheel out, and you keep doing this, you will gradually let out more and more cable. This is called reeling out, right? On the other hand, if you take your mouse wheel and you'll scroll in, you won't gradually retract the cable. You will suddenly, in a sharp burst, pull it all the way in like that. And this is done using the mouse's scroll wheel. You can either scroll up to reel out. You do this continuously. You keep scrolling up, and it will slowly reel you out. Or if you reel down, if you scroll down, it will give you a sharp reel in that gives you a sudden pull towards the object that you're tethered to. Okay, I'm just gonna, for the end of this video, I'm just gonna kill a few titans, have a little fun, using any means I can. Another good technique, actually, I should mention for pulling up to these is you could do the first double hook really anywhere you want, and then release it, and do a second one in the air, right to the back of their neck. Because if you do the first double hook to the back of their neck, it'll throw you too high. But if you do the first one lower, release it, and then while you're up in the air, hook to their neck, it works fine. Yeah, that's generally what happens. Okay, I think I'm going to go ahead and end the video here, and cut it and edit it. I hope you guys have fun and enjoy.